Last 2 days, yes.
Oh, great. So I'm like person
Stand by, Anne Marie.
555
Yeah, you're
right
the
now.
enemy.
I'm coming.
Not fair. You already answered every question like 20 times.
How about that?
All ready to go?
Yeah. We adjusted.
Excellent. Isn't there a rule somewhere in this industry that suggests that you don't work with children and animals?
Yep.
And you decide to just go straight into the kids.
I went right into the kids. I've done the animals, you know.
And
double take, you know, where the dog won't sit when he's supposed to sit. And, yeah.
I really want to ask you about the experience of having these kids audition and trying to pick the kids and having hundreds of kids on the set. What was that like?
I got a whole new respect for grade school teachers and kindergarten teachers and babysitters. Yes.
Was there anything particular? I mean, how did you even handle a day like that?
55 crying kids, you know, with snotty noses and some of them running loose, you know, and pulling on your pants and trying to get in your pocket and get your loose change. Yeah.
Basically, at that stage, the kids would have run the show.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
I also wanted to ask you about the little Tupac.
Little Tupac, that's a discovery. He's from my hometown of Kansas City, Missouri also. You know, he's on somebody's TV show now.
ABC.
You know. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. You know, if I watch TV, I would know. But yeah, Lil Pac, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, he's tight.
You've done countless stand-up routines, but you usually play really kind of outlandish, very loud characters.
Mm-hmm.
How did you have to kind of almost tone yourself down to play Lon, and how would you describe
To
him?
play Lon, I describe it as Eddie Griffin before he was 19. You know, I was the little Lonnie bookworm type, you know. And some partners of mine in the hood kind of dressed me up. And, you know, kind of went through that whole thug boot camp thing that Lonnie went through, so.
No, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, that scene and the style that Lonnie has during the movie.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
He definitely goes.
You know, his daddy looked good at the core, you know.
He definitely goes through that ghetto fabulous stage.
Yes, indeed.
How would you kind of describe that transformation that he goes through before he realizes that it's really not for him?
It's not for him. You know, whenever you try something new, you do it to the extreme. You know, it's like experimenting with marijuana for the first time, you know. Once you get started, you know, you take it to the extreme, you know. And then after, you know, you smoked it for a while, you're like, who needs it, you know. Give me a cigarette. And you get back to yourself, you know. It's like when you first started drinking. Remember when your drinking age, I think, is a better example because not everybody smoked weed. But, you know, everybody had their first drink, you know, spring break and all that, you know. You go buck wild, you know. And then after you've experienced the extreme of it, you pull back, you know, you occasional drink here and there. You know, so that was Lonnie's experience, you know. He just took it way out and he had to pull back. And at the core itself, but what he got out of taking it that far out is becoming the man and not just, you know, this victim all the time.
Well, the movie is all about fatherhood, and I wanted to ask you how much of your own personal experience or did you kind of go around trying to get more stories from the fathers that you know, how much of that is in there?
Is in there 3.75% to be exact. You know, if I was gonna let you know numerically. But I don't know, me and my writing partner are both fathers, you know. So you know, I mean, it's a 50-50, 50% his situation, Damon Coke Daniels is his name. And 50% of situations I've been through, you know.
So out of the 3 delivery scenes, which one is the closest matching one to your experience?
To my experience? I'd say Lonnie's. Yeah. But it was me, the buck wild one, you know. Because my daughter was 18 months. My wife was giving birth. And I'm in there, you know, the baby came out looking Chinese. So the doctor ran out the rooms. I started cracking jokes. I was like, so you had an affair with Jackie Chan. Now this woman can barely laugh because she's drugged out of her mind, you know. So, yeah, because my wife's half Jamaican, half Chinese. So the baby came out looking, full Chinese. I'm like, okay, what's cracking? You gonna tell me what happened here? Chocolate brother here, chocolate brother. Something wrong.
Comedy is all about chemistry, and from being in the audience,
we had
everybody
absolutely
reacted.
none.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Did you have to work really, really hard to kind of get it, or was it like click? It was there.
Yeah, no, it either clicks or it don't click. You can't work to get it. Me and Anthony have known each other for quite a few years, and we had worked together before on my old television series, Malcolm and Eddie. So, that was automatic chemistry right there. And when we hooked up with Michael Imperioli, it was just like, from the time we read. Well, and Method Man, that's my dog, so,
Yeah. What do you think, what do you hope that, people that watch the movie kind of take away from it?
I hope they take away a chuck full of laughs, and go tell a friend and come back and see it again. That's about it. No, they take away, just because we're Generation X, as they call us, the hip-hop generation. Just because our pants are sagging, we got scarves tied around our head and a few tattoos don't mean we don't take care of our children. Right. It's not just the Huxtables.
Excellent, and she's giving me the rap, so I'm done.
What'd you say, now?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I hope the rest of the afternoon goes fast for you.
Hey, I hope the rest of it is just as fun as that one was.
You like those Geico commercials? I love those Geico commercials. You never seen the Geico commercial?
Yeah. No, my favorites at the moment are the anti-theft commercials. When someone steals your identity? Have you seen the one where it's like old guy sitting in the armchair and
I
a
like that.
woman's voice comes out?
My
Who's
identity
the
got
the
stolen.
$3,000 one?
Yeah.
Separate.
I like those.
Okay, we have speed.
Excellent. I thought you were making grilled cheese sandwiches back here for everybody.
We've got a speed. No, actually, I've been making good records, actually, and it's a lot of work in a little bit of time, but I've got it. I've got it all under order now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. You ain't know I was bilingual in this mug, did you?
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what's
and
up.
what's the other language that you're trying to speak there?
I think it's English.
I'm stirring. What in your career, both in music and movies, actually prepared you to work with this many children?
Nothing. Well, my life, really. I mean, I deal with badass kids all day. There's a bunch of them in the hood want to come. Her parents will gladly give them to you. Here you go, take them for a week. Yeah, man. So my preparation was the hood, dealing with badass kids. Yeah.
So what was the set like? I mean, at any given moment, there would have been dozens of kids around.
Well, not really, just the babies, really. And I mean, they cried and got on my nerves, and cried some more and got on my nerves. And who's going to make a baby hit a mark, honestly? Like, you missed your mark, It's like, I see a scenario like watching Maury Povich and that guy coming out there with the big muscles, D. West, how he comes out there and he's screaming on the kid. Imagine that with little itty-bitty babies, but the same scenario. D. West coming out there, you're going to respect your mother. The kid ain't even out of diapers yet, man. So it's like you get what you get when you're working with babies. They're not going to hit their marks. They're not going to always cooperate with the director and see the director's vision for this scene right here. Yeah, man, it's difficult working with them babies, man. And just spank their little asses. No, I'm playing.
Definitely, they would definitely have ruled the set in that respect. It all
Yeah.
revolves around them.
Yeah.
Your character's name is No Good. What was your first reaction when you read the script and kind of,
Well, I told them I didn't want any gay innuendo in there, period, because how they always associate jail with, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't want any of that stuff up in there, And then everything else was pretty much, let's do it, I had no problems with it. I'll stick to your script, let's rock, I walked up in there knowing exactly what kind of character I was playing. He was a knucklehead that went to jail. You see these dudes all the time. They go to jail, time stops for these dudes. So when they come out of jail, they still got the same mentality. And they still see everything the same way they saw it when they went in jail, Shoot.
But No Good did want to do a good deed and be a bit of a Samaritan. Can you tell me about that scene in the baby shop? Because that's really one that got a lot of reaction.
Yeah, see people, basically, he wasn't going back to his old ways of sticking and robbing up. Basically, he did it for a purpose this time. He was doing it to basically look out for his cousin who couldn't afford all these nice things. You know what I mean? So it was like No Good showing his good heart right there, Yeah, I mean, I had fun doing that because I got to work with this guy from Kids in the Hall. He was one of the clerks, and he's just funny as hell, man. I was just, hey, man, happy to be here. Why not? Why not?
And then you turned organic.
Yeah. I was, it was the baby food. You know, changed my life.
As someone who has such a musical background, can you tell me a little bit about the music in the movie and what you think about it and how it reflects what's going on?
I wish I could, but I ain't heard none of the music.
It's really good.
I haven't even seen the movie.
No.
I saw it once, and it was real, you know. It was unedited, just thrown together, and the only song I heard was Scarface's On My Block. That's a cool song right there. Scarface, one of my favorite artists.
So are you going to sneak into a local theatre and watch it with the general public?
Yeah, absolutely. I always do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sneak right in Staten Island, too. You know, they know it's me, though. People just don't bother me anymore. They used to seeing me so much, you know? Yeah.
Well,
I got more. Matter of fact, I got bothered more going to see 8 Mile. I tried to sneak into that. What? It was in my area.
oh, good. Well, I hope it does really well for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everywhere, splish splash!
Thank you so much, everyone.
No problem.
It'll do well.
I'm pretty sure it did.
How would you like your camera?
Single shots, please.
I'm sorry, Anna, I missed your last name.
Dokoza, D-O-K-O-Z-A.
Thanks, we are speeding.
Excellent. Isn't there a rule in Hollywood that you should try not to work with children and animals?
Well, yeah, but that's a rule that's oftentimes broken. Sometimes you get a good animal, sometimes you get a bad kid. Never know. Never know.
Tell me about the experience of working with that many children on the set.
It's just totally unpredictable. I mean, you know, because, you know, we all share screen time with our kids at the same time. So you have 3 infants at any given time. One is sleeping, one is farting, and one is crying. And they could never do all 3 at the same time. So, you know, many of our was wasted waiting for, okay, this one got to shut up. We can't do this one until this one shut up. And then that one shut up, these 2 start crying. Now we need to pinch this one on the ass so he can cry, so all 3 of them are crying, then we just do it with crying in the scene.
So basically, they just ruled the set.
Yeah. They were truly the real divas of the set.
There's a scene that really kind of struck with the audience that I was watching where the babies crawl out of the room into the party.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, there were adults going, "Oh God, where is that child gonna go?"
Right.
What was it like, basically behind the scenes? Even when the cameras weren't rolling, it looked like you guys had a lot of chemistry.
Oh, we did. But this set was real tame while we were in front of the camera because we had to really just utilize, our time wisely, especially with infants, because you're only allowed a certain amount of time with them, and then when you're there, you really have to capture something. So, behind the scenes or when the cameras weren't rolling is when, Michael, Eddie, myself, and Method really just got to really just talk trash and just be us for a minute because, we couldn't do it in the movie as the characters, but as Anthony, Eddie, Mike, and Meth, we could just be out there and say whatever we wanted to say. And so those were always welcoming and refreshing times because then we get back into these characters and it was like, okay, well, we can't do what we were just doing, so let's do this.
Now, out of the delivery scenes,
Mhm.
which one did you identify with the most?
You know what, Eddie's, minus the cigarette and the alcohol. But that was me with the camera and everything in the delivery room because that's how I was at the birth of my children. I was, happy daddy trying to get all up in there. And my whole thing was, I'm going to videotape this so when my daughter and my son really start acting up later on down the line, I can say, come here, let me show you something. Sit down here, now watch this. You see what you put your mama through? You see what you put your mama through and you causing her all this stress right now? Look at what she did for you. Look at it! Now clean up the room like she said. So that's why I got it. That's why I got the footage.
So when are you going to actually break that out?
Well, when I haven't needed to yet. Maybe in a couple of years for my son. My daughter's cool. But I think I'm really going to have to show my little boy that. But he's only 3 right now. But, he's maturing fast.
think you might scar him, but go for it. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. That's a great parenting tool.
Yeah.
You have a really good rapport with Method.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that. They have an interesting relationship in the movie.
Yeah, well, you know, Method Man's character is No Good in the film, who plays my cousin, and we grew up together, you know, taking candy from the local candy store, and you know, you find out later on in the film that the store owner is actually the father of my girlfriend and baby's mama, and Bai Ling, who plays Shishi. And so that's how the family is tied in. But, you know, now I'm on the straight and narrow path, you know, trying to really make it as a boxer and trying to do this father thing. And No Good is, you know, released from jail, and he comes back into my life, and he still has the same mentality. You know, it's all for the good now, especially with him being, you know, the surrogate uncle to my child now. But the things that he wants to do and does really isn't conducive to my living situation with Bai Ling and our new baby. So, yeah, that's our relationship. But I love him. I love him. I can't say stay out of my life. It's just like, just change your life. Yeah.
And then he turns organic.
Then he turns organic. The OG, the organic gangster. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. What was it that first struck you about the movie? Because I was really struck by the fact that it was so racially diverse.
Mm-hmm.
There just aren't that many movies
Well, you
dealing
know,
with this issue.
Well, yeah, well, that's really what this was about, you know. People may look at the title and be baby's daddy, baby's mama, or whatever, and it conjures up, you know, negative imagery and things like that. Well, one, that's just the title of the film. Two, absentee fathers and mothers in homes are across the board. It just isn't in the urban communities and things like that. I think that's why the film was so diverse. That's why it was cast the way it was, to show that not that this is a problem, but this is a reality across the board. You know, so you can't pigeonhole it on one part of society. It's like, look, we all go through this, and this is how, you know, we deal with it, you know, individually and collectively. Yeah.
And it does it through comedy.
Yeah, we have fun. Hopefully they'll enjoy it and laugh with it, and just realize it's just a story of three men, you know, growing up. But what's all that, man? What's all that? Hey, keep that to yourself, brother. We're having a good conversation.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
I love the baby shop scene.
Me and Meth?
Yes.
Yes.
Just talk to me a little bit about that scene.
Well, you know, I'm on a fixed income and working for Cha-Ching, my father-in-law. And, you know, I see these things that I want to give for my child, and I can only dream about getting, but I don't have the money to buy the things that I want. I barely have the money to buy the necessities that I need. And, you know, and that's where I say Method Man's character, No Good, you know, has changed in some degree where it's not selfish. He goes in there and robs the place for me and my child. You know, he doesn't rob it for money or anything like that. This is the only way that he knows. It's the No Good way. So he's like, I'm going to take it. Give me the organic food and give me all this, give me that, and I'm gone. That's love. That's what we call ghetto love. All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
It's a
you,
pleasure.
sweetie. Pleasure's mine.
And